Hello, welcome back to Animated Literacy. This is lesson number 80 from the Story Song and Action book. In our last lesson, we learned about Orty Orson, who likes to order things. And in this lesson, we're going to be learning about Quentin Quail, who is a quarterback for a football team. So before we get into Quentin, we're going to go back and do a bit of review from Orty Orson. And if you remember in Orty Orson's story, she likes to play sports, just like our character we're going to be talking about today. And for every sport that she plays, she likes to have a different pair of shorts. And so to have all those different shorts, she has to get them from a store, and she doesn't live by a store, so she has to pick up the telephone and order the store to send the sporty shorts that she likes to wear. So Orty sound is or. Can you do that after me? Or. And if Orty eats a tomato, what would it be called? Tor, more, tor. Say that. Tor, more, tor. And if Orty eats a taco, what would she call a taco? A tor, tor. And if we put it in apples and bananas, what would it be? Orty likes to ort, ort, ort. Torcors and tormore tors. Orty likes to ort, ort, ort. Tortors and tormore tors. So what's a taco if Orty eats it? A tortor. And what's a tomato if Orty eats it? A tormore tor. So that's kind of a fun sound to play with. So we drew some pictures of words that use Orty Orson sound. And the first picture that we drew was of Orty Orson. And then we wrote a sentence about that. And this one says, Orty plays ball. And she has a ball right there on her shirt. Then we drew a picture of a horse. And my horse turned out kind of funny. I went back and practiced it some more and drew this horse. And next to this one, I wrote, the frisky horse trots. Because horses can trot, they can walk, they can gallop. So they have a lot of different ways that they can move. And we drew a picture of a horn. And I wrote a longhorn tweets, because one sound that a horn can make is a tweeting sound. And we had before drawn a picture of a jug, and so you can draw that jug again, and the jug has a cork in the top that is keeping the liquid from coming out. And I wrote, this soft cork pops, because sometimes a cork pops up out of a bottle, and they need to be a little bit soft so that they will squeeze in a little bit when you're putting them into the jug or the bottle, so that they're real tight and don't let the liquid come out. And you can draw a fork on your own, and I wrote that the hard fork pokes, because you poke things with a fork when you want to eat them or when you're cooking with a fork. And then finally, here's an ear of corn, and I wrote, the ripe corn looks tasty. Do you like corn on the cob? Does that look tasty to you? Then after we had drawn and our pictures, we put it into a song. And the song that we used was Mary Wore Her Red Dress, that went, Mary wore her red dress, red dress, red dress. Mary wore her red dress all day long. But when we changed it to Orty, what does it say? If you have this paper with you, you can put your reading finger up, put it underneath Orty, and I'll sing it, and then you can sing it back to me. Ready? Orty wore her orange shorts, orange shorts, orange shorts. Orty wore her orange shorts all day long. Orty wore her orange shorts, orange shorts, orange shorts. Orty wore her orange shorts all day long. Then the second part goes, Orty was a good sport, good sport, good sport. Orty was a good sport all day long. And that's going to be important for our lesson today, because we're going to talk about sportsmanship and what it means to be a good sport and what it means to not be a good sport. And so then we've labeled some things up here at the top, and you can do the same thing on your paper. And I wrote that strong arms lift, because an orangutan has very strong arms and they can lift heavy things with their arms. A blue shirt sparkles, and this is kind of a sparkly blue shirt. Orty plays ball. Orange shorts stretch, because they can go They're made out of material that is very stretchy so that they aren't too tight when you're playing your sports. And finally, I wrote big toe wiggles. Can you wiggle your big toe? Okay, well, we're going to be talking about a couple things today. One of the things that we're going to be mentioning is football. How many of you have watched a football game or been to a football game, or maybe you've played football? And the title of this Skybrary book is Gunner. And this is about a boy named Gunner who wants to play quarterback for the football team. But Gunner is very short and round, and no one will pick him. Until finally one day, he gets a chance to throw the football when the coach is watching. And he throws a perfect spiral, so the ball's not wiggling. It's going in a nice circle like this. And he throws it a long way, and the coach goes, "Wow, you can be our third string quarterback." But third string quarterbacks don't get to play much because the first string quarterback gets to play most of the game, and then maybe the second string quarterback gets to go in for a little bit, and the third string quarterback pretty much just sits on the bench. And that's what happened to Gunner until finally the very end of the last game of the season, he got his chance. So if you read this Skybrary book, you can see how it turns out for Gunner. This next story is called My Name is Elizabeth. And this is also a Skybrary story. And in this story, Elizabeth likes her name Elizabeth, and she doesn't like it when people change it or shorten it. So if people call her Lizzie or some other nickname, she gets very upset. And one of the reasons that she likes her name so much is because she learned that there was a Queen of England who was called Queen Elizabeth. So she likes to think that she was named after a queen. And we're going to be talking about a queen in our story today. We're also going to be talking about an animal called a quail. And a quail is a bird, and I have a mother quail here, and she has her little quail holding on to her tail over here. And here's some pictures of quails. And quails are small birds. This is about the size of a quail. And they're kind of quirky. They're very funny little animals. And quirky just means that they're different. Because quails have wings and they can fly, but mostly they choose not to fly. They can't fly real far, but they can fly pretty fast. But they run really fast on the ground. And if you have a lot of quails, called a covey of quails, they'll run this way, and then all of a sudden they'll all turn and run this way, and then they'll turn and run this way. They also have a funny way of taking a bath or a shower. If you've been out playing in the dirt all day and you're all dusty, what might you want to do? Take a bath or a shower. Well, where would you do that? You'd probably get in the tub and you'd take it in water. But when a quail wants to take a bath, it gets in the dust and it kicks up the dust with its wings and its feet, and it takes a dust bath. Can you imagine taking a dust bath? So that's kind of quirky. Now, I told you that we're going to have a queen in our story today. And here's Queen Quenby. And just like the quails are quirky, this is a quirky queen because she's not like other queens. And that's what quirky means, is that you're not like everybody else. Most queens live in a castle that is kind of a drab gray color and not very interesting. But Queen Quenby loves to live in a castle that has lots of colors to it. So look at all those different vibrant colors that she has on her castle. She also likes to have pets, but she doesn't have dogs and cats for pets like most people. She has quails for pets because she likes their quirkiness. And she has a whole covey of quails, but she has one special quail that she likes to take with her everywhere. And if it's a nice sunny day, she likes to take it out by the pond so that it can go in the dirt that's next to the pond and take a dust bath. Now, Queen Quenby is really popular in the town of Quailsview, where she is the leader, because Queen Quenby bought a football team and brought the football team to Quailsview. And she named them Queen Quenby's Quails. And just like you see with Quentin here, when she designed their uniforms, she said, you need to wear uniforms that make you look like a quail. And so that's just what Quentin is doing in this picture, is he looks more like a quail than he does a person. Well, all of the people from Quails who love going to the football games and cheering for the Quails, and they dress up like Quails. And even the kids dress up like Quails, and they call each other Quails. So Quentin wanted to become the quarterback of the football team, just like Gunner wanted to be able to do that. But Quentin, like Gunner, was very little, and the big Quails would never pick him to play. And even if he went to watch the big kids play football, sometimes they charged him a quarter just to watch them play. So Quentin really wasn't treated very well, being so small. Well, he decided, I'm not always going to be small, and I'm not always going to be slow. I'm going to practice until I become big and fast and quick enough to join the football team. So he got his very own football, and he began practicing. He ran with the football, and he threw the football, and when he threw it, he became so quick he could run underneath his own pass and catch his own pass that he threw, because he was doing all his practicing by himself. And here's the goalposts, and he would practice kicking the football into the goalposts. Well, over time, he got bigger and bigger and quicker, until one day the Queen noticed Quentin practicing. And she said, wow, you are so quick and you are so strong and you can throw that football so far. I'm going to invite you to join the Quails. So she brought him into her office so he could sign a contract. And she had this special old-fashioned feather called a quill that she used for special occasions like this. Now, feathers have been used for writing for 1,500 years. That's 1,500 years people have been using feathers. Now, this is a modern feather because it has a metal tip. But the old quills that they used to use, they would just take the feather from a turkey or another large bird, and they would cut the bottom in a very special way so that they could dip it into an ink well or a jar of ink, and they could write with it. And people still write with these today. But after using feathers for almost 1,500 years, a little over 100 years ago, they invented the ballpoint pen. And so most people write with pens today, but still, for special occasions like signing Quentin to a contract, they will still use feathers or quills. Now, when Quentin was signing his contract, he didn't just sign to agree to play football. He also had to agree to be a good sport, like Orty. So what does being a good sport mean? Not arguing, not pushing, not calling names, but being nice to the people both on your own team and on the other team. And when Quentin first joined the Quails, that's just what he did. He was a good sport. But after a while, the newspapers kept writing how great Quentin was, and people kept cheering for Quentin, and he got to thinking he was such hot stuff that he didn't have to be nice anymore. And he started to treat the little Quails the way he had been treated. And then he even started arguing with the people on his own team. And when Queen Quenby came to tell Quentin, remember, you signed a contract to be a good sport, he even argued with the Queen. So when he argued with Queen Quenby said, nope, you have to quit. You can't be on our football team anymore because you don't know how to be a good sport. So Quentin went home, wrapped up in a quilt, which is a blanket made out of lots of little tiny pieces of cloth, got out the newspaper and read about the Quails and waited for them to call him and say, please come back, but nobody called. He watched them on television, and still nobody called. And now Quentin is at home feeling very lonely and feeling like he wishes he hadn't had to quit the Quails. He wishes he'd have been a lot nicer. And he's hoping someday he'll get a chance to show them that he can once again be a good sport. But that's where our story stops. So do you think Quentin will someday get to join the Quails again? We don't know. You can write your own ending to that story. So now whenever we see Quentin Quail, or we see the letter Q, And when you see the letter Q, you're always going to see a U come after it. So if you see Q, or if you see QU, I want you to think about how Quentin was a quarterback. Pretend like you have a football in your hand like this. Reach way back and throw that football with a great big pass and go Qu for quarterbacking. Now let's test Qu and see if it's a vowel or a consonant. So let's put it into Are You Sleeping? So here's our bell, and here's Quentin. So what is he doing? Quarterbacking. So what's the first line going to be? Are you quarterbacking? Are you quarterbacking? Quentin Quail, Quentin Quail. Quentin's bells are saying, Quentin's bells are saying, quing quong quing, quing quong quing. So is that a vowel or consonant? Consonant. How do you know that? Did it stand alone? Nope. It had to have what? We had to put the ings and the ongs with it. So if we were doing it for little puppy instead of with a bell, how would it sound? Little puppy, he goes woof, woof, woof. Quentin's puppy, he goes quoof, quoof, quoof. What if we did it with a cat? Little kitten, she says meow, meow, meow. Quentin's kitten, she says queow, queow, queow. That was a little bit tricky on my tongue. Let's try that again. Quentin's kitten, she says queow, queow, queow. What if we did it with a duck? Little ducky, she says quack, quack, quack. Quentin's ducky, he says quack, quack, quack. What happened? It didn't change because duck, the quacking sound that a duck makes, starts with Quentin's sound. So now let's learn Quentin Quail's song. So warm your muscles up and sing this after me. First, pretend like you've got a football in your hand and you're going to toss it like this while you sing this after me. For a quail, we're going to make that top knot because a quail has this thing sticking up out of its head. So take your finger and make your top knot when we say quail. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. Now show me his two legs. He's quick as he... Let me do that again. Let's start over. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. He quarterbacked the Quails. He quarterbacked the Quails. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. He's quick as a quail can be. He's quick as a quail can be. Now, he can throw sometimes with both hands, so let's do it this way. With a quick pass here and a quick pass there. Here a pass, there a pass. Everywhere a quick pass. Try that. With a quick pass here and a quick pass there. Here a pass, there a pass. Everywhere a quick pass. Now show me the letter Q. When you make a Q, it's kind of a circle like this, and then it has this little piece sticking out of it. So I make my Q like that, but you can make it any way you want. Q is for quick Quentin Quail. He's quick as a quail can be. So let's try that whole song again. Ready? Warm your muscles up again. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. He quarterbacked the Quails. He quarterbacked the Quails. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. He's quick as a quail can be. He's quick as a quail can be. With a quick pass here, with a quick pass here, and a quick pass there, and a quick pass there. Here a pass, here a pass, there a pass, there a pass. Everywhere a quick pass, everywhere a quick pass. Q is for quick Quentin Quail. He's quick as a quail can be. Now let's try that with our recording and see if you can do the gestures and sing along while I point to the words. So here we go. Ready? Oops, that's the Quails song, not Quentin's. Here's Quentin's. Ready? Show me your quail.
Quentin Quail is a quarterback. He quarterbacked the Quails. Quentin Quail is a quarterback. He's quick as a quail can be. With a quick pass here
and a quick pass there.
here a pass, there a pass, everywhere a quick pass. Q is for quick. Quentin Quail, he's quick as a quail can be.
Well, let's see. After you do your rainbow writing of Quentin's letter Q, what are some things you can write about on the back of your page? How many of you have something that you wish you could do, but you're too small? And you hope someday that you can be big so that you can do it. So you could write about something that you hope to be able to do when you're bigger that you can't do now that you're small. But you could also do the opposite of that. Is there something you can do because you're small that somebody bigger than you cannot do? So maybe you want to write about what's good about being small and then what's not so good about being small. What is something that you wish you could do when you get big? Maybe it's a sport, maybe it's playing an instrument. So what is something that you might be practicing right now, hoping that you'll be able to do when you get bigger? You could write about what is a good sport. What does a good sport do that a bad sport does not do? So what's the difference between someone being a good sport and a bad sport? You could write about what would it be like to be a queen. If you were a queen and you could decide what kinds of things you would change about your city, what would you change about where you live if you were queen and you could make all of those decisions? So you can draw a picture about your answers and either write a sentence or a story to go with your picture, or wait if you need to for your teacher or your parent to help you write it, and then you can rainbow write over the top. So I hope you enjoyed our story of Quentin Quail, and in our next lesson we'll draw some things that use Quentin Quail sound before we learn another new character. So I hope to see you then.